What's up, everybody? It is the Best Spot Kid Smooth, and I am joined today by Gaming Addict. And
What's going on, you guys? This is take two because Kid doesn't know how to use the settings on Discord.
so we got some. I don't know if you call it breaking. From what we know is WB Games is pretty much for sale, right? AT&T is like really the parent company, and they're looking to sell off their gaming division. And we when it was first reported, it was rumored that Take Two or 2K and Activision were the interested parties. And today, word is leaking that Microsoft has serious interest in this, the publisher in this deal. Like, what do you make of that? Like, the last reported number was like a $4 billion with questionable uh handling of like the Batman IPs and all their licensed IP. Uh, Addict, what do you like really? What would you say? What would a move like this do?
Spot them. Like, okay, first off, we have to talk about, the elephant in the room, the IPs. Do they
Yeah,
get all the IPs? We don't know that. So, one of the biggest things we have to talk about is if they do buy this, are they going to be able to retain the Batman, the Lord of the Rings, and the Harry Potter IPs? Uh, Part of me feels like since the number's so big, that's in the negotiation. You know what I'm saying? Like $4 billion, that's a lot of money. I mean, they own a lot of things, but to me, the biggest things they own isn't necessarily the studios, but it's what the studios make.
yeah,
Uh, Rocksteady, can they make? They make good Batman games, but what would we need them for if they don't make Batman? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
another one is
No,
Modular. They make the
Monolith.
Monolith. They make the Lord of the Rings games. I don't know if they're making another Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings. They could be making something completely different, but once again, are they going to maintain those IPs? Now, I do think if Microsoft buys them, they'll own the IP, but not the licensing to keep making the games. If that makes sense to
Yeah.
you.
I
Uh,
when you consider it, all right. So they got Rocksteady, who's only done Batman and nothing really much outside of Batman. Got Monolith, who I think Monolith is the only studio that kind of has their own IPs. I don't. They might own the Condemned IP, Fair, and there's another game that they've done. And of course, they did the Middle Earth games. And then you have NetherRealms, which is Mortal Kombat. So if like Mortal Kombat, obviously it's an interesting IP. It's a well known IP. It's popular. But NetherRealms, like, what is one of the glaring holes in Xbox first party studios? Even with all these acquisitions, they don't have a team
they don't have
that can
original IPs.
be dedicated to fighting games.
Well, one of the things that Microsoft does need, they do need another round.
Yeah.
I don't like head-to-head fighters. I don't play head-to-head fighters, but there's a huge demographic of people that want to play Killer Instinct, and I do think one of the reasons Microsoft hasn't done it is because they don't have a dedicated team to make
Yeah.
Killer Instinct. So if they had NetherRealm, I highly doubt that they would not take advantage of them. I would think that they would let them rotate between Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm, and then maybe let just to introduce the NetherRealm into the Microsoft community, let them start it out as a Killer Instinct versus Mortal Kombat. I think that would be very relevant to the conversation because if that's like something they start out with, it's like, okay, this is your first game. Imagine what NetherRealm made, but imagine a Killer Instinct with NetherRealm quality.
It's funny you say that only because in 2016, the Mortal Kombat, the head of NetherRealms, I believe his name. I'm searching up his name right now. He Ed Boon. He tweeted Phil Spencer in June of 2016, and he says, "I love me some KI, but a crossover would have to be an Xbox exclusive." And Phil Spencer replied, "Love this idea." Now that was 4 years ago, which is funny that I see the tweet again today. Shout out to Tim Dog. Yes, Mortal Kombat a crossover game, yes, but the fact that they can pretty much secure Mortal Kombat, like, there's two reasons you do this deal, right?
And then there's another scenario people aren't realizing is like, we're looking at from a perspective of what Microsoft would get for the studios to make, but like Microsoft would own Mortal Kombat. Like that is a big IP in itself. That's big in just the gaming industry. The problem with Mortal Kombat is you could take that shit anywhere. You take it in the toy section. You could take it in the actual making movies section. It's a world known thing. The only reason that the disconnect is because it's been a head-to-head fighter, and a lot of people, that's a niche market. Might be a huge market, but it's still a niche market.
Yeah, but there's so many places that can go, and the more that I think about it, but people forget, like, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, they all had standalone games. They could do a lot with the Mortal Kombat IP outside of just being a head-to-head fighter. They have some interesting characters they can do, but not only that, is that the fact that I would do this deal. If I'm Microsoft, I would do this deal for two reasons. One reason is NetherRealms, Rocksteady, and Monolith. Let's say they don't get any of the IPs outside of Mortal Kombat.
Fantastic.
You got three fantastic, talented dev teams that can make quality games, whether it be action adventure, fighting, shooters. They have games that they've delivered, so talent wise it's there. But the second reason you do this deal, and the only reason you really do this deal, or you pull the trigger, I wouldn't do the deal without the Batman exclusive, the Batman and the Harry Potter. If you do it then.
If you don't get them, the price got to go down.
The price must go down. Yes, it's not worth as much.
I don't know I've heard they have a lot of studios. Actually, Tim Dog, they have a lot of studios. Yeah. Tim Dog posted their studios, and I don't know exactly what their studios do besides a couple of them. And it's just like, to me, there's a reason for that, because the mass majority, they don't really mess with their games like that. Well, but let me go ahead and find out why you talk.
The thing is, this is what we know. Obviously, the NetherRealms. We know Rocksteady does Batman, and we know Monolith does Middle Earth. There's another studio, the Lego.
Oh, they have Avalanche. They own Avalanche.
Avalanche, yeah. Not the Avalanche. I don't think this is the Avalanche you're thinking of, because there's two Avalanche. One that does like the Just Cause games, and then there's an Avalanche that I forgot what this Avalanche studio did. If you look at their games list, it should give us a better idea.
I'm looking right now. Just give me a couple seconds while you keep talking.
But the Lego is probably the biggest. It's underrated because obviously, and I don't know if that's part of a whole licensing thing, because they have
supposedly Avalanche is making Harry Potter.
They're making Harry Potter, yes. So if I'm Microsoft, you go into this deal with expectations of getting the Batman agreement, and you got to be aggressive with that. When you look at it from a competitive standpoint, we know that PlayStation has a Marvel IP. Nintendo's, got their terms dipping in with different IPs that are historic. Why not try to get some sort of hold on that Batman or the DC universe in some way, somehow? If Microsoft could walk out of this deal with like a 10-year agreement to do like Batman and Injustice, and then obviously get those studios to do their own games. But if you are able to walk out with those licensing with the Harry Potter, the Batman, and even hell, the Lord of the Rings, because we know Monolith does the Middle Earth games, they probably won't move forward with that story, as we talked about earlier. But what if they want to explore another story in that universe? That would be something that's worth noting. Those are some interesting licenses. I feel like if they could work out a deal where Microsoft can acquire those, and if I'm Microsoft, you grab these studios, and I know Microsoft is really liberal with a lot of things. This is something that I wouldn't go putting on Nintendo and PlayStation. If you're able to walk out with this deal and that Batman licensing, you got to keep that for yourself. You got the Xbox, you got the PC, and you have xCloud to really leverage a large player base. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
They would definitely be exclusive. I think, for the most part, let's not act like, if they bought this and got something like Batman and they made that a multi-plat,
Mm.
L, L, because Sony has no problem using their, their relationships to get stuff like Spider-Man as an exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's just like if they bought that, we don't need everything. I think Mortal Kombat would be an exclusive. I think the top 3 studios, they're going to be working on Xbox games. But to be honest with you, they might shut everything else down. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the
I'm
ones
looking
that
at
can.
the studios, and I don't really see anything relevant. Like,
I mean, Legos is big. Legos is big, believe it or not. And I feel like what they could do with Legos, that would be the IP that you let flow everywhere, like Minecraft, like PlayStation, Nintendo. Yeah, you're not gonna, take those away. It wouldn't. Yeah, Xbox doesn't have a large player base where it appeal with all those damn Lego games exclusively. So if I'm them, I would use that as my multi-plat leverage along with Minecraft because they got a whole lot to do. A Lego Minecraft mashup. Woohoo! Like, you know how much that would sell? Like Lego and Minecraft? Like, and then of course all the Lego games, would be automatic fillers into Game Pass. The sky's the limit with a purchase like this. It's an investment that is actually worth doing. It's actually worth doing if they can get, if they can pretty much take the entire everything that WB has in their gaming arsenal. The licensing is what makes this deal unattractive because if you can't get those, then you're just paying $4 billion for the Mortal Kombat IP and pretty much 3.5 talented studios. Even though it's a total of 8 studios, I'm sorry, I don't know what happens. A lot of those studios are redundant. It's like they'll have like Montreal studio, 2 LA studios, a New York studio.
Even if they don't get like the good, like let's say they get all the studios and they're like, we don't need all these studios. Yeah. So they could take the good developers out of the rest and just, spread the right, because any developer is a competent developer, just some have a better role than others, some have more experience than others. Yeah. I'm sure they've always saying they're hiring throughout all the other studios. So if they do buy it, take the people you need, put them in key positions. I'm sure Initiative needs some grunt workers. So put some of them over there, like spread out the rest, and just keep the 3 solid, maybe 4 solid studios.
This addition would be kind of insane because it's not even freaking like a necessary. Because Microsoft already has I don't count Xbox publishing because they don't make games. They make deals to get games, multi-plat games as exclusive. So I don't count publishing. So they got 14 studios. 8 will bring it to like 20. Like it'd be a little bit too much. Honestly. They get 3 of them, Rocksteady, Monolith, NetherRealm, you're good. Even Avalanche, 4, those 4 alone. If this WB deal happens, they don't need an Asobo or a blooper team or a People Can Fly. Those deals, it becomes, at that point, you're done.
You know the crazy thing?
What's up?
Is what happens if they did buy those studios and they buy these too? Like that, like. And to be honest with you, kid, I think it's possible. Like, first off, Microsoft's clearly interested, and it's like I said, Microsoft likes taking stuff that they can do with more than just gaming. Yeah. Mortal Kombat, they can do stuff with more than just gaming. Yeah. If they're able to maintain the Batman stuff, they can do stuff more than just gaming because that opens up a relationship that they can use to get into other industries. They don't have to just do gaming. Yeah. And the biggest curiosity I'm having is like. Let's say they buy these studios. Like, obviously, I think Rocksteady's probably going to be making Batman if they're able to contact. Yeah. And the biggest reason I don't think that they're going to let those, they're going to work out some type of agreement because Rocksteady's already not Rocksteady. Warner Brothers already put mad money behind the brand, behind Harry Potter been in development for how long?
Yeah, I remember it first leaked in like 2017 or 2018.
It still hasn't been revealed, so it's hard to tell if it's done.
And Batman, why have they been holding on to this Batman? Like, Batman was supposed to have been announced a long time ago, and it hasn't happened yet. Like,
so if they buy them, like, with the studios that they've rumored, let's say they bought 2 already, and we don't know. Then they buy these. I think at that point, Microsoft has everything they need developer-wise to do anything they need to with.
Yeah. They'll have every basis covered.
Especially if you get the people that make Shadow of Mordor, you get them to make some some crazy games for you. Like, and a lot of people are remembering the Nemesis engine.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
the only thing that they've made. This entire generation is the only thing that to me felt like that pushed the standards. It's like this Nemesis engine is crazy, and if they buy that, they get that too. Like,
What do you consider one of the biggest reasons Microsoft bought Ninja Theory?
I think they were.
Their
I don't
motion
think
cap.
they. I don't even necessarily think it was that. I think Ninja Theory was a solid studio. They made their own
But
good
they also
technology.
came with technology that could be useful in other studios. And when they have the state of the art motion cap technology, and they're
Imagine if they took that Nemesis engine and they put it in State of Decay.
yeah, see, yeah, there's a lot that can be done here, man. I think when this news first broke, when it was like Activision and 2K, and everybody was like, man, Xbox need to jump on this. We were tagging Xbox, and then I was like, no, that's too expensive if they can't get any of those licenses. If they don't get the licenses, it becomes too
If they
expensive. and
can't, I don't know
necessary.
how much all their studios are. You know, maybe at the bare minimum, I would say they need to get NetherRealm out of this. At the bare minimum, I would love the studio that makes Shadow of War and stuff, but I feel like they're going to be valued a little higher. If they literally can't make a deal for everything, they need to at least get NetherRealm. Because I honestly think without Batman, Rocksteady isn't useless, but it's not going to be as relevant as it was with Batman.
Yeah.
And I think the studio that makes Shadow of War, I always mess up their name. I think they're good,
Monolith.
but it just comes down to, is it worth the price?
For the studios alone, no, it's not worth the price. And then you gotta, at that point, if you don't get the licenses, you don't buy the entire portfolio. Microsoft would have to consider them, try to negotiate piecemealing, maybe collaborate with Nintendo, have Nintendo take on all the people that does the Lego games, grab those studios. Microsoft grab the Rocksteadies, the NetherRealm, Avalanche, and freaking Monolith. Like those are if they just need four. If they grab just four of those studios, they only really need one of them. But if they were able to walk out with 3 or 4, they don't need to buy any more studios. Like I said, this deal, if this deal happens, you don't need the quote unquote the Asobos, even though they're very talented. You don't need the people can fly. You don't need Blooper Team, even though it would be awesome. It would just be overkill, and they wouldn't be able to keep all those studios for long term. You know what I mean? Like some of them, I highly doubt that some of them we even be able to get projects out during their tenure. So
Who knows, man? They might keep those studios just because of Game Pass. Look, we don't need something AAA, but we'll give you a little AA budget. Just make something nice and fun for the kiddos. Do that, fun for the kiddos. Like, people will make the Legos. Like, once they start buy that company and they start making Lego Master Chief Halo and Lego Gear, they could do something like that. I don't know what they'll do, because I don't think anyone really knows at this point what they'll do.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy if they push this and they announce it on the 23rd, which I doubt it.
that'd be too quick of a turnaround. That'd be.
But we don't know how long the conversation's been going.
I mean, the thing is, and I know Clobra was probably referring to the tweet, to the obviously what they did the last year. It's just ironic that Clobra tweeted that what if Xbox bought the tweet was meant to grab attention because when you look at it at first glance,
studios, didn't he?
He did say 9 studios, but when you think about it, he was referencing what they have already done. But the fact that the next day later, WB Games has 8 or 9 studios.
I just think it's very possible. I think that Microsoft sees that the biggest thing I've seen Microsoft do is they want diversity. Yeah. They want diversity in Game Pass to get as many gamers as possible from different lanes of gaming into one subscription service. And right now, one of the biggest things they're missing is the fighting brand. There's a lot of hardcore fighting people that live and breathe this shit. In NetherRealm, people might not like what the last Mortal Kombat was, because I know a lot of the fighter community don't. They're still one of the top quality fighter developers out there.
Next one's still going to sell. Like, if you're Microsoft, you gotta look at your weaknesses and Sony's cutthroat. So you think about it. PlayStation has Spider-Man, biggest hero, IP now in terms of selling games and whatnot. They got Spider-Man. That's not coming to Xbox. Regardless, nothing we can do about it. It's not coming to Xbox, and it's a popular hero, worldwide, well-known hero. It's not coming to Xbox. Nothing we can do about it. It's not coming to Xbox. Then remember the last fighting game, the most recent fighting game that went exclusives, Street Fighter. And it looks like Sony's about to do another deal like that with Capcom, except it won't be a full exclusive. It might be a time. But when you look at that, like, yo, we might go another Street Fighter game that won't release on the Xbox. And Microsoft is close to Capcom.
There ain't been a Street Fighter this whole generation on the Xbox.
Yeah. Wow. There was no Street Fighter at all this generation on the Xbox. That's true. So you're saying they're going to go another Street Fighter game?
You know what's crazy, though? You know what that would voice? Mm-hmm. We heard you. Mm-hmm. We got MLB off they ship. Which, you know, it's hard to tell if Microsoft wasn't behind the curtains.
The first game is coming out in March. Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, now we're going to hit the Street Fighter people because we know we fucked you. It's like, but we ain't making no shit timed. We buying that shit. So,
yeah.
Because just think about that. Like, Mortal Kombat, an exclusive for the Xbox platform and Steam. Like, that's crazy. Because that's not a small game by any means. I don't like head-to-head fights. I don't give two shits about them. Mm-hmm. But I know a huge amount of people that love that brand. And it's like I said, you could do that with anything. You literally, not only are you buying Mortal Kombat, you're buying all the IPs to all of them in it. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to put Scorpion, when people want to lease Scorpion to another fighting game like they always do, they got to pay Microsoft. They want to lease Sub-Zero, they got to pay Microsoft. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what it is. They're looking at for more than one avenue.
Yeah.
They're looking at, okay, we need the gaming stuff.
Yeah.
But we can do more than just gaming.
I mean, hey, if this happens, I mean, the last time, well, I mean, I don't know how quick the turnaround is on a lot of these games, a lot of these acquisitions and stuff like that. But I mean, bro, I mean, if they can get something done, I don't know what I do, but I hope they get something out of it done. But I say, if you're Microsoft, if you can walk out of this deal with those licenses, because that was the thing that sucked about the WB games is a lot of their projects and games and success are off licenses. If you're able
but I do think that
walk out of there with that.
I do think because of how much money this is and how much they've already invested into these devs, there's no way they're not part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason that the price is so high and there's not many people at the table because these are part of the agreements. And Batman license is not cheap, and I think they've already contacted the people they license it from, and I think everyone's up to date. It's like, look, like obviously everyone's gonna have to agree to a certain term. Obviously, they're not gonna let Microsoft never do this, but put Microsoft and start putting Batman in crazy ass positions like he fucking bitches and shit. Like, so obviously there's gonna have to be some kind of agreement.
I think what happens is that
you're unfocusing.
Yeah, I think the issue with I think AT&T is still going to want a cut of some of those licensed games, though. I think that's what the issue is. I think they want to be paid for like the Batmans. I think they can get those licenses, but they have to be paid out. Like they want a portion of that, which is weird. They don't want nothing to do with the gaming division, but they want cut for the licenses that they've signed off. And maybe so they probably had like these extended agreements, and that if they're probably getting rid of the studio like in the middle of these agreements, and that's probably why they want some residuals for it outside of the base selling. But hey, Microsoft, if you're gonna do it, because I feel like you do this. If you don't do this, then you can. I feel like it's this or the other studios. We keep throwing out the Asobos and all this other stuff, but I think Asobo signed like a lucrative deal with another publishing company, not to be owned, but to publish games. And People Can Fly is the studio, the publisher that owns them. It's up for sale as well. They're just not as attractive as what WB has. But I say if Microsoft can walk out of here with what we want, and they can able to when I say
if you were
make that Batman game, it's the Batman and the Harry Potter games, the games that haven't been formally announced and revealed yet, they got to be exclusive.
Now, if they could only, let's say they could only get one exclusive, the other has to go to multi-plat, what would it be?
Get one exclusive, the other multi-plat?
Yeah, because these deals and stuff. First off, I think if they buy them, they're both going to be multiplayer. I don't think they're going to be exclusive. This particular Batman and this particular Harry
I
Potter, I
think.
don't. I think agreements have already been made. If they buy, they can't just go not go with them.
What do you think? I mean, personally, I think at that point,
Batman, they need Batman.
my
Harry
personal
Potter.
preference would be Batman. Honestly,
I think Harry Potter might be more appealing
yeah,
because it's a new IP pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah,
But I think Batman, they need their own superhero. They need it bad. Spider-Man is slinging shit all around them. They need something to
yeah.
yank that dude off. Like,
Yeah, yeah, obviously, yeah. Batman would be, I fuck it. Not just Batman. I want that universe, the DC universe. If you consider, because they're working on what a quote unquote Suicide Squad game, you got Injustice. I want that universe. I want, like, if you could have that, that's worth to me. I feel like that's worth more than just Spider-Man alone, because you got so many more avenues you can go to. The Avengers is multi-plat, like, you know what I mean. So you got so many avenues you can go. But I mean, that's all I can say. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. And trust me, if a deal does go down and his Xbox is the one that ends up winning the bid, trust me, we will be back with another video and probably a podcast. But you ready to go?
yeah, I'm good. I mean, that's all we can really say. Right now, it's nothing but speculation.
Yeah.
All I know is if you think about it, out of all the people looking for this, Take-Two, EA, and Activision, I think, they are definitely the better person to get this, like, on the real.
Yeah.
Like, I think the rest is just going to mess up the whole brand.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out Gaming Addict on his channel, and also every Sunday on the Iron Lords podcast. And you can check me out on Planet Xbox Podcast right here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that join button. We'll see you guys some other time. As always, Xbox is the best box, and I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. We're out.